Welcome, fellow watch lovers. Today we're looking at the Pagani design PD-1713. It is an Omega Seamaster Chrono homage. First, let's talk about the specifications. We have a sapphire crystal. We have a ceramic bezel insert. We have a chronograph function. We have a date window, which is an unusual addition here. Probably not necessary, as it's a non-matching date window and just adds a little bit of clutter to the dial, which already has a whole lot going on. It has kind of that traditional Omega, some people call turn lugs to it. The side of the case is got brush finishing on it. There's obviously the polishing to the lugs here as well. The sapphire crystal is flat. And this is an aftermarket NATO that I put on there. I'll show you the bracelet that the watch actually came with. And you can see the little pin links here. It has obviously an Omega type of bracelet. There is a butterfly clasp on this, like so. There's no logo or indication that it makes a smooth transition. Yeah, there's no micro adjustments, so you're kind of going to have to wear it a little bit loose. I like the look of the strap and the feel of the strap quite a bit. The reason why I swapped it out is because the butterfly clasp on my particular model was just popping undone randomly as I wore it. It was kind of a deal where I think if you just touched one side a little bit too much as you bent your wrist or something like that, it just would pop right off, and to me that became kind of problematic, so therefore I just swapped it out, which that to me is kind of unfortunate, because I think that it really does look good on that, but it also looks quite good with the NATO, so not a complete deal breaker, but something to be aware of if you're planning on and really only want to use the strap that came with it. And your luck may be better than mine, but that's what I was dealing with. Take a look at some of the measurements on this piece. It is basically has a 42 millimeter case here. This is a 20 millimeter strap. The thickness of the piece. The case back, fairly simplistic here. Pagani design logo, water resistant to 100 meters, and Pagani design sport, as well as the model number. And that is the weight with the bracelet, I think was adjusted to my 7.5 inch wrist. So a nice weight to it for quartz movement watch. Now this is a chronograph watch, as you can see by the subdials. The second hand is ticking. I believe it has a Seiko movement in it, but it is not a VK63 or VK64. I have not opened it up to verify the exact model of the movement, but something to be aware of here, and that this differs from some of the other Pagani design watches. These are faux screw down pushers. They look like they're screwed down, but they'll actually push here, and I'll demonstrate that. On the subdials, I have the 24-hour hand here on the right-hand side. The bottom subdial is the seconds, and the left-hand subdial ends up being the minutes. Obviously, these are small and potentially difficult to read with your eye accurately, but that's what they are. I'll go ahead and press to get the chronograph function working, and you can see that it starts ticking along on the second hand there. And then you push the top one again to stop it, and the bottom one to reset it. And you can see that the second hand does go back to kind of the 12 o'clock position, but it takes its time to go back. It stutters to go back. So it's not like a mecha quartz movement where that movement will just snap instantly right back to the 12 o'clock. Be aware of that if you're looking for that mecha quartz Chrono function. This watch doesn't have it, but the positives are all the other features it does have. The rotating bezel feels good. It has a little bit of back play, but not much. It's better than a number of Pagani design watches. It has a good click to it, and not too difficult to line it up fairly accurately. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the dial. They're loomed indices. The hands, basically at the pointers, are loomed. The little subdial markers are loomed, but there's really not much there. It is a very busy watch and somewhat hard to tell the time. You do have to kind of look at it, and there's no AR coding on there, and so that combined with the wave pattern dial, there's just a whole lot to look at. And so this isn't kind of that quick and easy look at your watch for a split second and know what time it is. You probably have to look at it for a second and figure out where the minute hand is, where the second hand is, where the hour hand is, and all that. It does a pretty good job of replicating that Omega look to it, and it certainly looks like a much more premium watch than it is. It does have a screw down crown. Adjusting the time and date are no issue at all. I would say the loom is fairly typical Pagani. It's not very good, and not what you're typically going to want for a true dive watch. But again, this has 100-meter water resistance as a budget watch. It's a lot about the general looks, but it does have the nice performance of the ceramic bezel and the sapphire crystal, so it's going to stay looking good for many years to come. The quartz movement obviously gives it a high degree of accuracy that you're not going to get with a mechanical watch. So that's positive for grab and go purposes. And the extreme cost reduction that you get from being able to have a chronograph watch, whereas any halfway decent mechanical chronograph watch is going to cost quite a bit for the movement. In fact, probably more than this whole watch costs, as well as the cost of service. A mechanical movement is many times more than the cost of this actual watch itself. I hope you found this watch review helpful, and please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content.